All right, so here we are with Hobby Horse. This is a 1974 Ford Bronco, and today we're going to be installing these James Duff lift-off hinges.
So let's look at this door. Where is it bad? It's bad here, 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 and here. It's a Bronco door. It's bad everywhere.
All right, so today we're going to focus on taking these hinges off and replacing them with lift-off hinges. But before we can even consider doing that, there are three things that are going to affect how well your door is aligned. Number one, rust. Rust in the A-pillars, rust in the floorboards, rust everywhere is going to affect how well this door is hanging inside of this frame. Number two, body bushings. Body bushings are going to sag over time, and they're going to cause this side to be high, that side to be low. Number three, your hinges. The stock hinges will actually start sagging over time. Now you're probably thinking that's what the problem is, but it really isn't the first place you should be looking. So we're gonna start with the rust.
All right, so the first place that you want to look for rust in your Bronco is along this A-pillar right here. And then also under the floorboards, you've got either paint or rhino liner, bed liner down. And so it's not super easy to see. So this is looking at the driver's side A-pillar right in the front wheel well on the driver's side. And this is a place that you really want to look for rust in here. So this is definitely somewhere where you want to look. All right, so under the Bronco, there's not a ton of room, but here's the driver's side front tire. And what you want to do is you just want to come under here. You want to check for any rust spots, and if you see some rust spots, you know, just grab a screwdriver or something and just kind of poke at them. And if your screwdriver can go through, then it definitely needs attention. So like, what do you do if you have rust in your wheel wells? Do you stop and just say, all right, I'm not going to change my lift off hinges, or I'm not going to change the hinges? Well, that's up to you, but what we would recommend is for you to address those rust areas, because obviously even if you put some new hinges on there, you're probably not going to get your doors straight. So just keep that in mind as you're going through this.
All right, so the next thing we're going to look at is body bushing. And you'll see that this camera is pointed at the body bushing right below the A-pillar on the driver's side. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tape measure, and I'm just going to measure how tall this body bushing is. So this one here measures at 1.5 inches. I'm going to take this tape measure and I'm going to go to the other ones and make sure they're all also 1.5 inches. And keep in mind, there are 8 body bushings on these Broncos.
When your body bushings are off, it just contorts the door in ways that the Bronco is not supposed to be contorted, and it just looks weird. So that's why we want to make sure that you check for rust and that you check those body bushings before you begin this project.
So if I were you, I'd want to get that all squared away before I started. And so we're going to go ahead and move forward. But just so you know, the complete transparency here, this is a little bit more gap and a little more funkiness than I like to start with. Your friend, the Sharpie here, is going to help you prevent any accidents as we move forward. And we're going to outline the hinge on where it was on the door. But this is just to get you close. It's a reference point. All right, so as you can see, there's a couple different offerings here on the table. And you know, the James Duff lift-off hinge is a great piece that's sand cast, then machined. It's got a large bronze oil light bushing in it, and it's got a 1/2 inch pin. It's super beefy. Now there's also another hinge that you can get from James Duff, and this one here is actually made by a company called Drake. Now Drake makes a stainless polished lift-off hinge. It's got a 5/16 pin. Now it's totally different than the James Duff one, but But James Duff also makes a trail door to go with it. Now, the one with Drake, it comes with all new stainless hardware. It comes with check straps. It comes with check strap holders and the hardware to go with those as well. Now, if you want to stay with the James Duff heavy duty lift-off hinge, then you are going to get check straps if you need them. You can reuse the ones that come with your doors stock, but if you need new ones, they also sell those too. You gotta tighten these down so these hinges can't move, because if they can, once you get this door and slid onto the frame side and they try to move, they'll actually cave in the sheet metal on the door and they'll crack your paint and they'll make it look really bad and you'll have a bad day. All right, so I've got the door side hinges in place. So now I'm gonna grab the tape measure. So you're gonna take a reference point from the top of the top hinge to the bottom of the top hinge. Okay, stay with me now. Top of the top hinge to the top of the bottom hinge. Now I'm gonna draw my tape down, and what I'm looking for is a measurement anywhere from 11 and 15/16 to 12 and a 16th. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's one of the two or in between, it just has to be the same from the front side of the hinge to the back side of the hinge, because we want these hinges square to each other. So I'll measure here, and I've got 11 and 15/16. I'm gonna measure again from the front and 11 and 15/16. So in theory, my hinges are square, and it's ready for me to test fit the door side hinges onto the body side.
One of the cool things that we found on Classic Bronco is a great place, has a lot of helpful information for Bronco stuff. So this is pretty cool, and it's kind of just the like final test that you can do right before you try to put your door on, but finding a 1/2 inch diameter straight rod and lining it up and seeing if it'll actually go, and it does. Seeing if it'll actually go into both of the door hinges, and this one does, which means we are super close, and we are pretty much able to put on our door and kind of see how everything goes. But remember, you want to tighten it down here on the body first, and then you want to make sure the hinges on your door are square, just the same way that Michael was showing. But don't tighten the hinges on your door quite yet, not all the way. You want them a little bit looser than these.
All right, so this is a lot easier to do with one person, even though it's really heavy, but you just brace it with your thigh like this, and you're gonna wanna line these pins up. Now, I've only tightened one bolt down on each of these hinges. The other two are snug, but not tight. And that way, my hinge, look at this. Wow, that is beautiful.
Okay, we're gonna pause right here, and I'm gonna put a link up here or over here to my video that's 11 minutes long, where I struggled for all 11 minutes trying to do what Michael just did in like 30 seconds. All right, there you go.
We're not out of the woods yet. We still don't know if this door even lines up with the truck. So, and not only that, the next step is really critical. You want to go really, really slow, because you've got these cutouts on the door around the hinge, and if it's not lined up just right, as it comes in, it's actually going to take those cutouts and it's going to make contact with them and hurt your door. So I'm gonna go really slow here, and I'm gonna look at all the points, and right now I already feel something's making contact right here. So clearly this door needs to be aligned before we can move any further. So go really slow on this point so you can make small adjustments until the door is lined up.
So what we're gonna do is drop our rod back in there. And what was hitting was down here. The bottom of the door was hitting this little lip here on the door frame. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna try to kick that out. Now, don't just loosen everything up. Don't like, don't do what I used to do. And like I loosened every screw up, and the door just like just went down, and it ruined everything. Because at that point, all of my hinges were off. So don't loosen everything up, but loosen slowly up so that you have enough to get that movement, but so that it's still tight, that it's holding that in there. And we're gonna keep it square with the rod and then try the door on again. So this is kind of just the trial and error point of this.
Well, John, that is a wrap. How does that compare to your liftoff video?
This process was much easier.
Wow. I'll be honest with you, I only watched about 5 minutes of yours and I had to stop.
It's pretty painful. But, you know, like knowing now what Michael knows and like how to do it properly, it really does make it easier because you measure, you square up those hinges. Using the rod really helped.
Yep.
And like, you know, just as you're going through that process, taking the door off, making small changes, and just kind of shimming stuff if you need to shim stuff, makes all the difference in the world.
And plus all the prep we did ahead of time. We made sure the truck was even a viable candidate for liftoff hinges. Yeah, I think that went really smooth. We may even get a new title, like Door Whisperer.
The Door Whisperer right here.
All right, guys. Thanks, everyone, for watching. And don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a comment below. We want to know your experience, and we want to know if this helped you. We'll see you next time.